Chang, who we expected to have joined us this morning. I understand he has other important business to attend to, and so he will not be here this morning. So we do regret not having Horace Chang, a man of this soil, not being with us this morning. Other apologies from Professor Michael Taylor, the Dean of the Faculty of Science and Technology, from Dr. Shazida Ali, the Acting Dean of the Faculty of Law, from Dr. Tomlin Paul, the Dean of the Faculty of Medical Sciences, from Dr. Akshayman Singh, the Dean of the Faculty of Sport, and from Professor Wabinti Wariboko, the Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Education. We're pleased that two deans kept the flag flying. Dr. Paul Akin and Professor David Tennant are here with us. Dr. Paul Akin, Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, and Professor David Tennant, Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences. In April 2014, the UWI Mona entered into an agreement with Barnett Limited to acquire just over 18 hectares of land for the development of its Western Jamaica campus, a development intended to significantly boost our offerings as a university and to provide options in higher education, particularly for Central and Western Jamaica. This new UWI Mona Western Jamaica campus will be part of a development of the Carr-Jarrett family, encompassing a technology park, a housing development, and the campus itself. In 2016, a memorandum of understanding was signed with the expectation that groundbreaking for what would be a state-of-the-art campus would occur within a set period of time. Regrettably, this plan didn't materialize at that time and within that time frame. But today we have that dream materialized, and we are very happy for that. So today we are so grateful for the partnership with Barnett Limited, which has allowed us to be here to get the ball rolling to see our new Mona Western Jamaica campus, Barnett site. I want to welcome you here today, especially this morning, which is historic for us, and to thank you so much for taking the time to share with us on this special occasion, the long-awaited groundbreaking event today. Thank you all so very much. Yes, you can clap. The more important man is about to step forward, but is new to Western Jamaica in the sense of being our principal only since August 1, 2018. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you Professor Dale Webber, who was appointed campus principal of the Mona campus on August 1, 2018. I feel like he's been here forever, but I have to realize it's not really not even a year yet. He's a former Pro-Vice Chancellor for Graduate Studies and Research, and Professor Webber has had a distinguished career in coastal ecology and environmental management, and a strong and consistent record of teaching, research, graduate supervision, administration, all done with excellence over a period of some 30 years with the University of the West Indies. He joined the UWI in 1989 as a warden of Taylor Hall, which is one of our halls of residence in the Kingston side. And in 1991, he moved to become lecturer in the Department of Life Sciences. It took him no time to be promoted in 2003 to a senior lecturer and then to the rank of professor in 2010. Between 2003 and 2007, Professor Webber served as head of the Department of Life Sciences. And from 1992 to 2001, he was the assistant director for the Center for Marine Sciences at Mona, and returned as director from 2005 to 2015. He held the Grace Kennedy's J. Thomas Solomon Senior Chair in Environmental Management from 2010 to 2015, when he was appointed Pro-Vice Chancellor for Graduate Studies. His portfolio expanded to Graduate Studies and Research in 2016, when both portfolios were merged. As PVC, as we call the Pro-Vice Chancellors for Graduate Studies and Research, he mobilized staff and students across all 4 campuses of the University of the West Indies to develop multi-campus research clusters, which resulted in successful international grant applications, as well as a $25 million US research monitoring MOU between the university and the government of Montserrat. Professor Webber has an excellent record of public service. He is well known, particularly in the environmental private sector. He currently serves as chairman for the Environmental Foundation of Jamaica Board of Directors, convener of the Cape Environmental Services Panel for the Caribbean Examinations Council, chairman of the CL Environmental Company, and chairman of the Climate Change Advisory Board of Jamaica. Professor Weber led the transformation and operation of the Environmental Foundation of Jamaica as the largest environmental grant donor organization in Jamaica. And as its chairman, he oversaw its successful merger with the Forest Conservation Foundation. In Jamaica's recent national awards, he was awarded an Order of Distinction in the rank of Commander for his outstanding contribution for environmental conservation. Ladies and, that deserves a big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome to the podium our new but not so new principal, Professor Dave Weber.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, there are times when the introduction becomes longer than the speech. But this is not so today. The Honorable Edmund Bartlett, Minister of Tourism, Honorable Chris Tufton. I didn't know you were going to be here, Chris, but I should have known, because as I do the reading, so as an academic you do the reading, as I do the reading, I realize you were here at the genesis. And therefore we're very glad that you're here, and we'll talk about that some more. The Honorable Malou Fort, Attorney General, with whom I served on the Ocean Council of Jamaica for a number of years. Good to see you again, Madam Attorney General. Mr. Mark Carr-Jarrett and Ms. Carr-Jarrett. Mark is a special individual, but I'll come to that with time. But I shouldn't do that. He's going to speak after me, so he'll get to return the favor. The Most Honorable Denise Eldemire Shearer, who I must mention because those of you from the UWI Mona campus know that she's my partner. But if you are an Eldemire by birth and a Shearer by marriage, then that puts you in a special place. So, but we'll speak about that some more as well. Dr. Prendergast, the director of our Western Jamaica Mona campus site. The Honorable Homer Davis, the mayor. Deputy Principal Boxill. Members of the UWI family, both Western Jamaica and from the Mona campus. Members of the Western Jamaica family outside of the UWI, because we are here at your home making a difference and hoping to make a difference. Honorary graduate Dr. Tony Hart and Mrs. Sheila Hart. Members of the media, members of the press in general, ladies and gentlemen, friends, colleagues, good morning. The University of the West Indies is a special institution. We think we are the best. And in order to be the best, you have to be amongst the best. The late, great Kofi Annan once remarked, knowledge is power. Informing is liberating. Education is the premise of progress in every society and every family. And we think what we're doing here will reach every community and every family, expanding across all of Jamaica. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this ceremony today, which comes 5 years after a signing agreement between the UWI and Barnett Limited to mark the beginning of what was a strategic positioning of the Western Jamaica as a key part of development of Jamaica. We're indeed pleased to see that the dream of many will become reality today. I have met so many individuals this morning who have spoken about the dream. I spoke to Mr. Bovell, and to know that the dream that you had has merged with the reality of the dreams of many of us here today makes it even more special for some of us who had no idea that this was where we were going to end up. This development is a significant milestone in the history of the UWI, as it comes in our 70th year, being celebrated last year, of leadership and service. This special occasion for us opens the door so that state-of-the-art facilities and world-rated faculty will be available even more readily to the Western Jamaica and to the innovators, the change makers, the policy makers, and entrepreneurs who are resident and operating in this zone. The UWI continues to evolve and continues to be responsive to the needs of Jamaica. We started with a small campus, one campus of the entire university, 33 medical students in 1948. Here we are now with four campuses and an open campus which allows us access to another 14 countries with 49,000 students. Here we intend to build another campus site, the Barnett site, which we hope is going to be the flagship of what the university does in Western Jamaica. This is built on the university's strategic plan of access, alignment, and agility. Today, as a result of partnerships which we have forged with Barnett Limited and many other stakeholders with whom I have spoken this morning, right, Mr. Sinclair? We are looking at a way forward. We have stakeholders in St. James and beyond who have taken us to the cusp of accomplishing greater access. More students will have access to tertiary education in Western Jamaica, and that is our primary goal. Alignment, in that we are now aligning academia with industry in partnerships to achieve the goals. And more importantly, we are willing to take on the questions that you want asked so that we can provide the answers that you need. And then agility, we would like to use this as an opportunity to increase the financial health of the University of the West Indies as we forge into our Western portfolio. When the Western Jamaica campus was first thought of, I will confess it was a knee-jerk reaction. We came Western very hurriedly in response to other circumstances. Not so this time. We have asked and we have heard. The West has some special, unique contributions to Jamaica that the University of the West Indies would like to be a part of. We want to be a part of the development as it unfolds in Western Jamaica. We would like not just to try and replicate what happens in Kingston, but to make a niche-specific response to that which is required within Western Jamaica. And our Barnett site is going to be that response. We are therefore putting on display today, and I hope you'll have a few moments to look at, the display boards that our architects have dreamt up from different deans. And I will pause here to say the two deans who are here because they have a vested interest. And you'll see in a few moments. The view of our deans, the view of our projects office, the view of our graduate studies, of our campus registrar, and we put them all on storyboards. And then we had a model which we think best gives you a 3D feel for what we want this campus to look like. We want a world-class school of management which will cover BPO management, financial management, tourism management, all that we would like to have. We want MBAs, we want accounting, we want the global tourism sustainable effort to be a major part of what we do, but at a level that does not cause confusion or competition with those who are already operating in the space. We want to partner with those who are already there. And I'd like to thank Minister Bartlett, with whom we had the pleasure of having breakfast the other morning, for sharing his dream with us and allowing us to piggyback. He thought he was piggybacking on our dream. He doesn't know that we're piggybacking on his. But the idea here is short courses, medium courses, long courses, BAs, BSTs, and we will ladder them. We will allow students to go in, do something, come back out, spend some time in the workforce, get back in, get to another level, again step out. They will be able to take it all the way, we hope, to our PhDs so that we can offer the full range. This is a full campus. This is the university at work in the West. The Dean, therefore, of the Faculty of Social Sciences, who already has the largest number of students in the Western Jamaica campus of the Mona campus, is here because he has a vested interest. We also want a world-class engineering school. Pre-engineering is about to start. In fact, the Dean of Engineering, who is sitting here, his vested interest, just yesterday came and said, so are we going to announce this tomorrow, Prof? Because he wants to start September, like in a few months' time, with a pre-engineering. For those who do not have the qualifications for engineering, he will train you to get you into engineering, and that's the kind of energy and excitement that we want to bring. Chemical engineering, industrial engineering, environment engineering, aerospace engineering, technical skill sets for BPO sector, I know he's already spoken to the airport, to JPSCO, to New Fortress, and there are many things yet to come. We are opening many doors. We will need to have accommodation, and we are starting with a small accommodation of 250 rooms for a 30,000 square foot to be completed within 1 year. So the build-out is urgent. We hope at the end of all of this to have more than 100 spaces in terms of rooms, but think about the spin-off. We now need accommodation for our staff. So those of you into the development of staff housing, we want to talk to you. We will need space for more students because we're planning for 5, 8, 10,000 students. You will tell us how we grow. You will tell us where we go. When we speak of access to education, we have a global view, and we are positioning the University of the West Indies for this. Because our goal, and I would apologize for the Vice Chancellor, Sir Hilary Beckles, who is actually in Barbados and therefore couldn't be here. We are an excellent global university rooted in the Caribbean. So while we're here, we have to reach everywhere, and access to the airport right over there is an important part of siting. Location, location, location. So, so today we celebrate the next phase of the UWI Western Jamaica relationship. We look forward to other partnerships, other industries, other academic institutions in the Western Jamaica area as we firmly establish the UWI footprint within the Western Jamaica through this Barnett site. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, there is an undeniable set of direct and indirect opportunities which will come with this project. We have done at this campus, we will do as we have done at all our campuses, we never see ourselves as just occupying our space. We see ourselves as a major part of the community, as being a part of the fabric, as being a major stakeholder and involving all stakeholders for the mutual benefit of all involved. At a time when our country grapples with serious challenges such as crime, corruption, we have revisited our strategy to ensure that we will be that oasis within the sector that allows us to grow and spread that oasis over the entire Western Jamaica. I want to close by making a special thank you to Chris Tufton, who, Honorable Chris Tufton, who, Chris and I go back to school days, so I have to remember sometimes that you want them to tell, should I tell them how far ahead I was of you in school? But isn't it strange that I was ahead of him in school and he's so much ahead of me now? So I want to say a special thank you to Minister Tufton, who was integral in the original discussion, the dream that was being born. I want to say thank you to Professor Eldemaya Shearer, who sold me the dream and told me what her father and her father's friends were doing, and that this was going to culminate something that is at least 20 years in gestation, not just the 5 years of signing. A very special thank you to Mark Carjarrett, because that day I went to see him, we felt like we were about to be evicted. We felt that we had lost the opportunity, having not done anything. You're giving me that look, right? We having not done anything with it for so long. But in that first meeting, I could tell that we had kindred spirits. We were on a strategic journey together. And Mark, I hope this is what you wanted, because it's what we expected. I hope this is the beginning of the next stage of that relationship, which allows us to demonstrate the other partnerships which are available as the university establishes itself. As a global university rooted in the Caribbean, serving the world, we are proud to see another step in this university taking its place, making Western Jamaica even greater than it is, so that Jamaica can be even greater than it is. I thank you all and look forward to the breaking.
Wow, you felt the energy? My goodness, if you could just all take up the shovel and go out there and just start dig right away. You know, it's interesting, as Professor Shirley recognized Denise Eldemaya Shearer, I was at the back when the Honorable Minister arrived and trying to get a little space in, because Professor Shearer was just kind of hugging him. But then the delight on her face, really, Denise, I could see, because, you know, she's born and bred down here. And she was saying to the minister, calling a lot of names about, do you know that was the person who started this? Do you know this conversation started X? And the admiration I could see and the memory of her dad, who would be smiling at occasions like these just came to me, and I realized that this is really in the DNA of some persons. It is a dream come true for us, but for others it is more than a dream, isn't it, Denise? So yes, we realize that this means so much more than it actually looks to many today. The Honorable Marlene Malahoo Forte is no stranger to us at all. She is, as you know, the Honorable Attorney General of Jamaica and now serves as the elected Member of Parliament for St. James West Central. It's my pleasure to welcome her to bring remarks at this time. Please welcome the Honorable Malahoo Forte.
Madam Program Chair, Dr. Camille Bell Hutchinson, Campus Registrar, Mona Campus. Permit me to adopt the protocol you established earlier, followed by Professor Dale Weber, which acknowledged the presence of the many distinguished ladies and gentlemen present here this morning. But I ask you to indulge me to add to that list my predecessor in the office of Member of Parliament for St. James West Central, Mrs. Folks Abrahams, who I see here, and no doubt who was part of the work, given the time frame when it began. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is such a proud moment for me in many ways, but in particular, two. As Member of Parliament, we are brought in very close proximity to the concerns of young people who want to better themselves. Many who understand that education is the only way for social and upward mobility. They have nothing to inherit, and even if they did, they truly understand and value the difference that sound tertiary education will make for their lives. When I left home in Western Jamaica from the neighboring parish of Westmoreland, the small community of Paul Island, which the Honorable Minister of Tourism and I have the distinction of coming from, I remember literally crying. It was the first time I was leaving home. And it was a hard transition for me, coming at the last of a whole tribe of siblings and known as the wash belly of my family. Some would say I was spoiled, but I wasn't really spoiled. I was just specially guarded as the last of the clan. And you know, for all the years I was at home, my father felt that I was not yet old enough to learn to cook. And my mother, on the other hand, felt that all of her children, particularly the girls, had to learn essential housekeeping skills. But by the time I came to leave home, I had not yet acquired all of the housekeeping skills, and I was in trepidation. And I wondered, how is it that there was no place in Western Jamaica where I could commute to school and get to the education that I was seeking? Because UWI was the be-all and end-all of university that was presented to us in high school. And I recall going to campus, Mary C. Cole Hall, and going home as often as I could. And I also remember after graduating and I left Mona to go to Cave Hill campus to complete the law degree. And I came back, and again I was faced with the challenge of accommodation. And the crying came, because I had left many room in my father's house, and I was seeking room that I thought was not really up to scratch. I say all of that to say this, how extremely delighted and proud and happy and all of the many adjectives that the UWI Western Jamaica campus is coming to the Barnett site, not in a hurried way, but after much consideration and after much thought, and that the campus will include residence and so many other facilities that will show students from Western Jamaica or any other part of Jamaica or any other part of the world that you can see what true college and university life look like. And I'm so pleased that it is happening in the constituency that I have the privilege to serve as Member of Parliament. I want to congratulate all those who have been part of it. The government that I serve in was ushered in under the mantra of partnership for prosperity. And some of the partnerships began before, but I can tell you we are continuing those that make sense and those that will deliver positive results to the people. So ladies and gentlemen, from where I stand looking on you, it is clear to me that it is a happy moment for everyone. And I share in the celebration, and I cannot wait to see the completion of the campus and to then say to the young people of Western Jamaica, and in particular, those in the constituency of St. James West Central, that here is another life that you can be fully incorporated into, that you can make something better of yourselves, and you don't have to linger on the street sides and needle out your hand middle, but you will see the kind of behavior modeled before you that will make you truly proud to be Jamaicans and a Jamaica in Western Jamaica. It is my belief, and I know it is shared by my colleagues here, the Minister of Tourism, who will be the guest speaker, the Minister of Health, and everyone else. Probably not so much the Minister of Health, since he's no longer part of the formal representation of Western Jamaica. But the redevelopment of Jamaica is beginning in Western Jamaica. And Minister Bartlett will tell you all of the plans that are being implemented. And when you look on the new Jamaica to come, Western Jamaica is the place that is sending the signal of where we will go. Have a good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And if you note, I came in my flats so that when I actually break the ground, I'm not going to be stuck in the ground. Have a good morning.
The end of that, I rather like the end. I liked everything, but I like the end about the exciting plans for redevelopment, and it's going to start in Western Jamaica, because then the only Caribbean university to be ranked best in the world, first in the Caribbean, 3% in the top 3% in Latin America and the Caribbean, and the top 5% in the world. Which better university to start with that thrust? So we are excited, Western Jamaica Chorale, how could I? We started a little late, so the program got a little bit unwieldy. So if you notice on your program, our UWI Western Jamaica Campus Chorale should have been having our musical prelude. We didn't quite have the prelude, but now we're going to have this, shall I say the postlude? The interlude, because there's one coming up again, isn't it? We are proud that out of the students here, they were able to develop a chorale. And I tell you, our university singers and the Mona Campus Chorale, they will have certainly to contend with our Western Jamaica Campus Chorale. So let's hear it for them, and let's enjoy what they have to offer.
Lord, we thank you, we thank you, we thank you. We thank you for this plot of land. And we thank you for your increase. Enlarge your territory, Lord. makes my prayer. I pray for
Wow, thank you so much to our Western Jamaica campus chorale. Enlarge my territory. We certainly are going to enlarge our territory, aren't we? We have already expressed apologies for the absence of the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, the Member of Parliament for St. James Northwest. So it's my pleasure to invite Mr. Mark Harjari, JP, Managing Director of Barnett Limited, to say his own words of remarks to you. Mr. Carr-Jarrett is actively involved in land development, construction services, tourism, and farming. He currently serves as the chairman of the St. James High School Board and the St. James Parish Development Committee, as well as vice chairman of the St. James Local Public Accounts Committee. He has wide and varied interest within Jamaica and is a former president of the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce, as well as a director of Trumpet Call Ministries International and Teamwork Christian Center Trust. He sits on the boards of Guardian Asset Management Jamaica Limited, Greater Montego Bay Redevelopment Company Limited, National Works Agency, and the Agricultural Development and Market Corporation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium Mr. Mark Carr-Jarrett.
Thank you, ma'am. 1 second while I put on my eyes. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, Dr. Bell Hutchinson. If I may take the liberty and declare all protocols observed in the interest of time, I appreciate it. However, I would like to specially recognize my board of directors, Mr. Christopher Bavell, our chairman, Mr. Oliver Holmes, director and financial consultant. Thank you both gentlemen for coming all the way from Kingston to be with us here today. Mrs. Paula Carr-Jarrett, director, co-owner and secretary for the company, and Miss Shelley Josephs in the back in the purple shirt, our general manager. The UWI team, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am also so glad and blessed that our daughter Rebecca could be with us here today. Welcome, my dear. This is part of your legacy as well. I would also like to recognize Mr. Danny Wegman of Wegman Supermarket fame, the largest and most successful family-owned supermarket chain with 40,000 plus employees in the United States, and whose family has had a home at trial for at least 2 generations and is as committed to Jamaica as any one of us here today. Welcome, Danny. Let me just add too that Wegmans Supermarkets is also a major partner with Cornell University in the United States. And you can replicate and reciprocate here as well, Danny. There are no problems. I would also like to specially acknowledge Dr. Christopher Tufton, Barnett's former director in charge of business development, who spearheaded the negotiations for this campus and brought all the loose ends together to create this development. He liaised with the planners and principals, keeping everyone focused and on mission. Thank you, Chris. And he has taken the same commitment for excellence into the halls of government, and we are truly grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very welcomed event and follow-up to the agreement of sale signing on May 16, 2014. Some deadlines have been missed, but our commitment to this project has never faltered. If not, it has grown stronger as we have realized through the development of our Barnett Tech Park just how important this campus is going to be to the development of our young people who, given the opportunity, will be the ones to develop the nation. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if we develop the people will develop the nation. In 2014, when the agreement of sale was signed, and we were completing our first 50,000 square foot BPO center with 1,000 seats and 2,000 potential jobs. Today, we have 200,000 square feet and 4,000 seats occupied, with close to 6,500 young people gainfully employed by our clients, Conduent and ACT, and I think they deserve a round of applause. And let us not forget our partners Vistaprint, who employ another 1,100 young Jamaicans in their global service center in the Barnett Tech Park. 7,600 young Jamaicans at work. Furthermore, we are currently constructing another 75,000 square feet and 1,500 seats for delivery to Conduent by August this year. These jobs and many more to come need filling with well-educated and trained young people who will be more of our ambassadors to the world, which we so competently serve. The zeal and enthusiasm that Principal Dale Weber has exhibited in our meetings is nothing but infectious. And this is only matched by the stalwart of Western Jamaica, Dr. Patrick Prendergast, who I have the privilege to call our friend and ally for this campus over the past 5 years and even before that. So thank you, Patrick. When the initial groundbreaking deadlines were missed, and we at Barnett could have exercised our rights under the agreement of sale to take the land back, it was tempting, especially since the bypass will be running along two sides of the property, increasing the commercial value by close to an order of magnitude. But we realized that this institution is about more than money and returns. It is about the fulsome development of Jamaica and, more importantly, our people. The most precious resource we have, and we refuse to lose sight of this fact and the responsibility that we have. Because as my grandfather, the late Sir Francis Carr Jarrett, told us, we hold the land in trust for the nation, and as trustees we should always ensure that they are engaged for their highest and best benefit of the people, not just the company. And we take this responsibility very seriously and soberly. So for us at Barnett, this is a watershed moment where the dreams and aspirations of young Jamaicans who desire a quality education will be met so that they can, in turn, meaningfully contribute to the growth and development of this our nation, Jamaica, land we love. And it will also be the foundation and building blocks for their own further personal development. So the snowball grows. As they grow and develop, so does the wealth, strength, and viability of Jamaica. I could go on and on about how much this campus and institution means to me personally, and the fire that burns inside of me for its potential to be the game changer in Western Jamaica. But in the interest of time and your sanity, I will refrain. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to congratulate the entire UWI development team, so ably led by Professor Weber, on getting us to this point. And I say us, ladies and gentlemen, because this is a we thing. It will not reach its full potential unless all of us here and abroad become partners with this campus and commit to ensure its success and, in return, our own success, as we in the private sector will now have access to the quality human resources we so desperately need to grow our businesses and communities, and as our pledge so aptly says, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. Ladies and gentlemen, we can do it. We must do it. Thank you very much. And may God continue to bless Jamaica, land we love.
We thank the Honorable Christopher Tufton for sharing the little time he has with us, and we see him having to leave at this time. Mr. Carr-Jarrett spoke about the enthusiastic, and I would put fiery, principle that we have. Trust me, when you're in a meeting with Professor Weber, you're tired by the time you finish the third sentence, you know? That's how energetic he actually is. He's surrounded by a group of very dedicated individuals, which I'd like to recognize this morning. We have our campus legal officer, Mr. Carl Lawrence. Mr. Lawrence, can you let us see who you are? We have our contracts officer who works with Mr. Lawrence in the legal unit. We have our senior projects officer, Mr. Shetta Stevenson. You can all stand up, you know, we need to know who the principal's office really look like. They're the ones helping us along. Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Arlene Supersad, Mrs. Maria Coburn, who has joined our new PPP unit. I think I see Mr. Peter Ainsworth, who heads that PPP unit. Dr. Ronald Robinson and Mr. Herman, I'm sure I saw Herman McDaniel. I think you are very integral in the initial stage. You know, they pretend to be shy. You know, what at work, their mouth very loud, but then very, very pretending to be shy and decent here. Am I missing anybody? Did anybody missing, Peter? Everybody else from the principal's office? We have a tight team that surrounds the principal, and our senior managers here too. We have our campus librarian, our director of student services, who will have an integral part to play with the students here, Mrs. Carleen Sambo, estate manager, who has been responsible for a number of the setup we see here. Her team is also here. Mrs. Gillian Scarlett, acting manager of our campus projects office. You know, I tested myself, because if I go about the campus bursar, that's right, the acting bursar, Mr. Howard Pierce. You know you get in trouble when you start calling names, right? But I just want to recognize, and myself to commit to the principal, that the team around him is going to see this through. And we are really happy to be part of this occasion today. Okay, we mentioned Dr. Patrick Prendergast, the quiet, pretending to be quiet, stalwart. Patrick has been leading the campus over the last 5 years, I think. Is it 5 years, Patrick? Only 4? Feels like 5 after Dr. Luz Longsworth left us to be principal of the Open Campus. And he has steadily led this campus and has seen its growth in many ways. And he's a man of many ideas. And I know this is, I said to him at the back, I said, you know, I won't be here to see this through, but you certainly will be here to see it through, and we look forward to that. So we're going to ask Dr. Prendergast now to come and introduce for you our keynote speaker, the Honorable Edmund Bartlett. Please welcome Patrick as he comes.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all, good morning. It would seem that the name Edmund Bartlett has become synonymous with the industry broadly called tourism, and rightly so. The Honorable Edmund Bartlett was first appointed Minister of Tourism in 2007 and served fearlessly for 4 years in that capacity. He returned to the helm of the Ministry of Tourism in 2016 and has been like a man on a mission for change and transformation, positioning tourism as a catalyst for economic growth and transformation of our communities, creating opportunities for private-public partnerships and alliances, broadening our understanding of the critical value of local and international linkages across transportation, agriculture, manufacturing, and cultural enterprise with tourism, and of course, opening up new ways of creating engaging experiences for all who are part of this phenomenal industry called tourism. Little wonder then that he has become the lead voice for the expansion of experiences in such areas as gastronomy, health and wellness, sports and entertainment, and knowledge development. Little wonder that he has been recognized as one of the world's leading tourism ministers. He has served as chair of the board of affiliate members of the UNWTO, the United Nations World Tourism Organization, vice chairman of the Executive Council of the UNWTO, representing the Americas, and as vice chairman of the Caribbean Tourism organization. He is the African Diaspora World Tourism Awards recipient of the Caribbean Tourism Minister of Distinction Award, as well as the Caribbean's leading personality for outstanding services to tourism at the 23rd World Travel Awards. He was named the Caribbean Tourism Minister of the Year at the Caribbean Travel Awards in 2017, and just about a year ago, March 2018 to be specific, Minister Bartlett was hailed as the Minister of the Year worldwide by the Pacific Area Travel Writers Association. Even more recently, in November 2018, Mr. Bartlett received the International Institute for Peace Through Tourism IIPT Champions in Challenge Award at the International Travel Crisis Management Summit in London. The IIPT awards honored industry leaders who have stood forward in exceptional times of challenge and have made a real difference through their words and their actions. One action that touches us closely at the UA Mona campus is the development of the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center, for which our keynote speaker received the 2019 Travi Awards inaugural Chairman's Award for Global Tourism Innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speaker has given over 35 years of service to Jamaica, working both in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. His track record of service is as a legislator and commitment to building the human capital, especially at the grassroots level, are indeed rock solid. His passion for the sustainable development of the tourism industry is unquestionable. So too, his dedication to the advancement of education at all levels. And so, it is with honor that I introduce to you the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, CD, MP, Minister of Tourism, to bring us the keynote address at this time.
That's heavy. I don't know where Professor Prendergast got all that information from, but he's certainly woven it very creatively and has presented something that is a little alien to me, and I'm getting accustomed to accept it. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and I wanted to assume the protocols that have already been so well established, and to greet everyone, but to ask your permission to recognize my permanent secretary, who has become a permanent part of the tourism landscape ever since I've been there, my first and second iterations, the newly minted CD, Jennifer Griffith. I wanted to give her a special name. And I think that the academic community, in mentioning all their stars, forgot one that really shines in the firmament, the newly minted Professor Lloyd Waller, who advises me also. And of course, I stole from the university. I've been doing that a long time. One of their real talents in the person of Dr. Andrew Spencer, who is now the executive director for TPDCO. And he's here with us. And he chairs my Jamaica Center for Tourism Innovation, which is the institute we established for professionalizing the industry and to train and certify professionals within the industry, particularly to look for competence in the workplace, but competence which is not connected with certification, and to certify, so that the workers of our industry can have a new lease on life and can enable their competence to be recognized through certification and put them in par with all the other workers and professionals in the industry across the world. this morning is really very special to me personally. And in line with what Minister, and I keep saying that and the Prime Minister will not hear me, but the Attorney General, my my partner and my co-Westmalite, but more importantly from the wonderful little district of Paul Island. I remember, when I was going to high school and I said, I'm from Paul Island. I said, okay, which one of the small islands are you from? And they didn't quite get it, that it was in the big country of Westmoreland, that small island was located. But for us in the West, this is really a red letter day because it signals the arrival of academia in its pristine form. And it gives us a new horizon of opportunity for expansion in our knowledge base. But more importantly, a true chance to convert that knowledge into material things which have a value and can make for our well-being. Because that's the purpose of education. It's not just the accumulation of information, but it's that ability which it will give you to convert that knowledge and information to material goods and services that will have a benefit to everyone and add value to our existence. And so looking at how the West has developed over the years, and particularly how Montego Bay itself has expanded as the premier tourism destination of the Caribbean, the English-speaking Caribbean. Indeed, I would venture to say the entire Caribbean, because when you look at the Spanish and the Dutch and the other Caribbean countries, and you really look at what tourism has done and where is that center, where's that focus, where that locus, it stretches all over in many places. In Montego Bay, it's very concentrated, and Montego Bay represents more than a third of the tourism experience in Jamaica, and that's very important for us. But the impact of Montego Bay to Western Jamaica is even more important because it becomes the locus of other types of activities and involvement, and it brings a population migration from all over the 5 parishes into this center, and it even pulls heavily from Kingston and the far east of Portland and St. Thomas. So Montego Bay has become over the years a real center of commercial activity, of academic pursuance, as well as it is a place of hope. Many things have happened to Montego Bay because of that, some of which we have to discuss at another place and time. But most of which, a structure like this, and a university of this nature and the global reach that it will have, will hopefully embrace and in fact provide the point of reference for the change that Montego Bay and Western Jamaica needs to have. It's to bring a new civility. It's to bring a new appreciation of relationships. It's to bring a new understanding of how to live with each other, because our education will be of no value if it doesn't teach us how to live with each other. And I believe that this is one of the challenges that we have in Western Jamaica, that an expanded university with multidisciplines will seek to help us to really take a hold of. But today, I wanted to spend a little time with you on the subject that Professor Prendergast has mentioned so often while referring to my name. And I'm sure you're not surprised that that's what I'm going to do. And I want to start by saying how honored I personally am, and how very happy the Ministry of Tourism is that the University of the West Indies, through Professor Weber and of course Professor Hilary Beckles, have sought to work and to collaborate with us to establish and put together a global program that's going to help us to reimagine tourism in Jamaica. Because in the last decade or so, tourism has positioned itself as a critical variable in the development planning space and the development discourses globally. Today, Businesses, governments, international organizations, as well as NGOs have established or are establishing programs, initiatives, which facilitate tourism for development. Academic institutions have also been introducing, organizing, or reorganizing tourism as an important element of their curriculum. The University of the West Indies is no exception. Through its many courses, centers, and institutes, the UWI has been preparing our Caribbean nationals for the expanding opportunities and benefits being presented by the growth of the tourism sector. And I just want to make the point that this growth has been exponential over the last 50 years. And in Jamaica's case, 50 years ago, just 200,000 international visitors came to our shores. Last year, 4.32 million visitors came to Jamaica. By the same token, 50 years ago, we earned somewhere around 90 million US dollars gross receipts from tourism. Last year, 3.3 billion US dollars we earned. Just about 10,000 people were employed in tourism 50 years ago. Today, 120,000 direct, and indirect and induced some 479,000 as per the latest WTTC report, which I got yesterday. The same report said 10.2% of GDP tourism contributes directly, and some 33% indirectly and induced. What that means is that tourism, besides being 53% of the receipts from sales and services and exports overall, is also providing 1 in 5 of all the jobs within not just Jamaica, but the Caribbean as a whole. And what we are seeing, therefore, is a further expansion, and that growth is continuing, and I'm allowed to say this quickly before I continue my discourse, that so far for this year, in the first 10 weeks, we have already cleared 580,000 stopover arrivals and 1.2 million visitors overall, and have earned over $1 billion US for Jamaica. So where are we going, and how do we present a new look, a re-architectured tourism to meet the demands of a glowing and growing demographics? So according to the WTTC and the UNWTO and the other indicators across the world who do these things, several other regional, global, and institutions, tourism has been recognized as that force which accelerates human development, social and economic inclusiveness, increased entrepreneurship and self-employment. We want to focus on that. The generation of decent work, environmental sustainability, and also supports regional integration. Indeed, the contribution of tourism to both national and regional development continues to be enormous, as I dare to say, in fact, unmatched. Firstly, tourism is linked to the notion of a sustainable economy in several ways. The economic indicators show that Caribbean is the most tourism-dependent region on earth. And just to let you know that 16 of the 28 Caribbean states have tourism contribution from GDP of 10% and more. 16 of the 28. And of the top 15 countries of the world with the highest tourism dependence, the Caribbean has 13. And Antigua and Barbuda has the highest of 95%, and they are only second to the Maldives in the world. So what it says is that the Caribbean space is a hugely driven location by tourism. And last year, it would be satisfying for some to know and shocking for others to appreciate, tourism had $30 billion of foreign exchange earnings for the Caribbean. And that was 45% of all the foreign exchange earned within the Caribbean space. So tourism is also linked to the preservation of heritage and culture through the concept of experiential tourism. Most tourists travel to have authentic experiences that require that they partake in activities and consume and acquire products and goods that are indigenous to the countries in which they travel. So tourism thus helps to preserve natural and cultural resources while generating revenues and incomes for local population. So to unlock the potential of tourism to contribute to inclusive growth and development, our main focus at my ministry is to find innovative ways to reduce economic leakage in the tourism sector. And at another time I will have a little more to say on that in terms of the real strategies that because of the linkage paradigm that we want to always bridge. Because the retention of the dollar is a function of that. So we build the linkages to eliminate the leakages. The mandate is already being executed through our linkage network, which has been coordinating policies and strategies designed to strengthen linkages with other sectors of the economy, particularly agriculture and manufacture, and strengthening the benefits derived from the industry by local residents, communities, and to promote broader participation by all our nationals. We, however, recognize that the competitiveness of the Caribbean destination will significantly rely on how well we prepare our people for the emerging opportunities. If Caribbean destinations are to remain globally competitive and increase their share of the global tourist market, we must find ways to unlock new sources of competitiveness and comparative advantage. Traditionally, the tourism sector has enjoyed one of the highest rates of labor mobility of any segment of the economy. However, many of the opportunities taken up by our citizens are those that require low skill and offer limited prospects for economic mobility. This fact is largely attributed to the fact that the majority of the tourism-related jobs are deemed to require low and medium-level technical skills. And I want us to note that in relation to what we're doing here today. The global tourism market is, however, becoming increasingly differentiated and segmented. Consequently, the continued growth of travel and tourism in the region will depend on the right people with the right skills being available to meet this demand. And this is demand for the additional human capital. In the next 5 to 10 years, we are going to require 60,000 more workers within the tourism industry in Jamaica alone, as we bring nearly 20,000 new rooms, 10 of which will be completed within the next 5 years. And so we are working to create the paradigm shift in the local tourism space, which will see our citizens accessing more substantive jobs. And we'll discuss this not only today with you, but I will discuss this further because we are on a huge program of human capital development within the tourism sector. So many trends are impacting the skills needed to perform competently in tourism-related jobs, such as digitalization and virtualization, as this new fourth revolution embraces us. And no other industry is it more felt than tourism, because tourism is a whole series of connected parts that are driven constantly by innovation. In our words, we say in tourism, the only constant in tourism is change. And so we have to respond to that. So the growth of non-traditional segments, the changing demographics of international travelers, as we have more and more youthful travelers, the changing lifestyle and consumer demands, and the need for data-driven policies are critical to the future reimagining of the industry. Technology has a significant impact on tourism-related employment, as well as supporting and changing how services are delivered. While technology has downgraded certain skills in the tourism sector, it has upgraded others, particularly in the areas of marketing, information and communication, So Caribbean destinations now must recognize the differing preferences of a new generation of younger travelers and the growing importance of online services and marketing, especially through mobile internet. The future of tourism lies in the manipulation and exploiting of the ICT capabilities such as big data analytics, machine learning, blockchain technologies, the Internet of Things, robotics, etc. And so what we are doing here and what we plan to do here with that business school is fully in line with the needs that are going to be ready for us in the re-imaging that has to be done. So we need to urgently capitalize on the opportunities for high-skill employment that are being generated in the ICT-related fields in tourism. The growth of non-traditional markets in Europe, Asia, and Central America will require increased focus on cultural studies and the development of competencies in various languages. The increased focus on data-driven policies to better understand the emerging needs of market, to analyze trends, and to predict future patterns means that tourism development strategy must increasingly emphasize research-based skills. The evolving tourism market will require modern managerial skills that can drive performance improvement in the sector by raising productivity through better staff planning and scheduling, employing new technology, and improving employee motivation, thereby reducing staff turnover. And that's very critical because this is one of the problems we're having today in the labor market, where the systems being employed are being criticized heavily because of the issues of tenure within the sector. And that's a direct result of the low skills and the undefined, if you will, occupation arrangements in the sector. So most importantly, we must equip our citizens with the competitive business management and marketing skills that are required to operate successful tourism enterprises in this globalized era. In the current dispensation, the hospitality sector has to contend with negative perceptions of low wages and the lack of career opportunities beyond entry-level jobs. Studies have found that many university students have a peripheral view of tourism. There is oftentimes scarce information and misconceptions about the skills required, as well as the opportunities for career development. National governments must take a lead in developing a long-term workforce development strategy, and I'm here to advise you that your government is doing so. Ideally, such a strategy would be developed within a broader context of improving the industry's competitiveness and sustainability, since the increasing demand for skilled labor will continue to present a major challenge in all the countries of the Caribbean, and Jamaica is no exception. It is highly recommended then that strategies of their implementation should be carried out with the private and education sector and embrace agreed upon commitment from the industry. A robust institutional framework is needed to determine the education and training policies and programs that will support a more attractive labor market and business environment in tourism, which will allow the industry to maintain a sufficient and highly qualified workforce and hence support the enhancement of productivity in the industry. My view is that while formal qualifications are not always required in tourism, their existence and a widely available opportunity to obtain qualifications and competency in tourism may contribute to the raising of the prestigious positions that tourism ought to place and have in the global workspace. I make the point of outlining to you what is required for us to contextualize this development and to let everyone understand that the Ministry of Tourism and the government is fully aligned with the University of the West Indies in building out this campus here in Western Jamaica. But to close, I must say that the partnership between the university and ourselves in positioning the first ever Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center is a huge global game changer. And it is going to give a new focus on Jamaica and the Caribbean and the UII insofar as global tourism is concerned. But it's going to go beyond that, because the disruptions that impact global economies are not limited to climate change or to seismic or indeed weather events. They are now finding themselves in huge new areas like cyber crimes, where personalities are being stolen and identities are being stolen. And where last year, 500 million customers from one of the largest tourism companies were in fact compromised because the database was hacked. Then there is terrorism, which is a new scourge, it would seem, on the land that is causing disruptions all across the globe, and who knows when and who knows where. And with the hyperconnectivity that obtains from the new digitalization and the cognitive systems which we are now embracing, it makes it difficult for you to understand or even to predict when what is going to happen and where. It could be next to you. A smartphone today is defining world action and is determining the new norm. So this university is timely. We want to work with it. We want to work with you. And I want to say that to establish the first ever graduate school in tourism here at the Western Campus is not just a dream I want to have, but it's a reality I want to experience. Thank you very much.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I felt I could just... Minister, you sure you're finished? Thank you so much. Prof, you hear the challenges out here for us? I mean, I was taking note, and the promises, definitely promises, in which case I must recognize Mrs. Mina Israel. I think Ms. Mina Israel walked in somewhere, special advisor to the Vice Chancellor, sitting at the back. Welcome, Mina. We're happy to have you. Yes, thank you for being here. And we're glad you heard all the promises, but also all the challenges. I was certainly taking note of the kinds of issues that the minister has indicated we will need to look at. And I think we are well positioned as a university to take these on. So, Minister, we're right behind you with this. And we're looking for you to be in front, beside, and with us all along as in partnership. So here we are again with the Western Jamaica Campus Chorale. We look forward to hearing them. Please welcome them again to the podium.
Saving grace, I know you're not worthy to see my face. I try hard, but I make mistakes. You're still by my side every step that I take. Through every heartache, and you get the praise. Every time I'm a shield always. Every time me a gaze and I play hard yes. To show me mercy and give me safe.
Lord, I pray, I honor your name. Deliver your mercy. Whenever I fall, you lift me up. Glory to thee, oh God.
All powerful, omnipotent, shine on your glory, your magnificence. When you build a fence, it make all the difference. Step in on my life and take precedence. Be the captain, the pilot, the teacher. Be the head and the boss and the leader. Be my guide, my shepherd and my keeper. Omega,
Lord, I pray, I honor your name. Deliver your mercy.
And we'll now pass around the offering plate, and please do not hesitate to give as much as you can. Thank you, Western Jamaica Campus Chorale. To have any function, as you all well know, takes so much time to plan and to put together, and there are many different pieces that have to come together, and there are many different players to get this to happen. So we want to recognize those persons who have helped us to put this together. And to do this, we're going to call upon the director of the Western Jamaica campus, Dr. Patrick Prendergast. After he gives a vote of thanks, he will guide us through the rest of the proceedings. So it's my pleasure to say thank you for being here. Have a good morning, and Dr. Prendergast will lead you out. Thank you. Welcome, Dr. Prendergast.
I was just reminded that they offer to take offering, that we also take credit cards. We have to start the seed wherever, you know. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, again, we have come to the end of a ceremony that signals another milestone, another mark of significance, so to speak, on our journey to providing greater access to a world-class, globally ranked UWI education. And if, like me, you believe it has been a wonderful morning, then we are deeply obliged to say thanks, and I ask you to put your hands together for everybody who made this morning's event a success. As the most exquisite form of courtesy, I humbly and willingly express gratitude to everyone who has made this morning's exercise a blessing for all. Of course, our Madam Master of Ceremonies, Dr. Camille Bell Hutchinson, thank you for your usually cheerful spirit. You've become a kind of an expert guide in these activities, and we definitely thank you. But more than this exercise, we want to thank you for your insightful leadership as campus registrar. We want to say thanks to our Member of Parliament and Attorney General, Honorable Marlene Malahou Ford. We note your message. We do note your message. And we commit to you, as you have committed to us, to make the Barnett site more than just another room to be made available for those who leave their many rooms in their father's mansion. That you will find more than just a room here, that everybody who comes will actually find a home that will make their educational experience rich, fulfilling, and empowering. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Mark Carr Jarrett and the Board of Directors and members of Barnett Limited, thank you, thank you, thank you. Mark, I thank you for your patience and your generosity of spirit, your expertise, your generosity of knowledge, and of course, the passion that you have shared for this campus. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that you believe in this project, and we really would love to thank you for that fire that is still burning towards this project. You've always talked about the tremendous potential of our youth and the tremendous potential of our region, and certainly our country to contribute to that. And of course, the incredible value of having a highly educated population. And so we look forward to your continued help and to remind you that indeed this is development in action. We're especially grateful to the Minister of Tourism, Honorable Edmund Bartlett. Sir, believe me, we don't mind sharing the best of UWI with you. The thrust towards reimagining the development of the tourism industry deserves the critical leadership and partnership. And of course, we thank you for allowing us to be the home of this new drive. we in education play an integral part in the whole process of developing those linkages that will minimize the leakages. We appreciate that very much, and we commit ourselves to working with you in ensuring that we stay on the path to sustained development of tourism. We look forward, of course, to the strengthening of the partnership, because we also note your commitment. Trust me, they will tell you, I believe in having graduate schools. I say no more.
Thank you.
You know, in October of this year, we will convert our Sustainable Cities Symposium into a Sustainable Cities Conference. And so I made a note, because that's already one place that we know you will be sharing with us. You will be sharing with us, like the mayor of our city, who has already committed himself to being part of that process. Of those sharing the platform this morning, I have deliberately left this man to be the last. Pro Vice Chancellor and Principal of Mona, Professor Dale Weber. Sir, we want to thank you for your vision, but more importantly, at this time, we want to thank you for your action. And of course, we must thank you for your remarks. We are indeed the best, and we intend to keep it that way. The dream is alive and well, sir. This is becoming the site, the center of world-class tertiary education in the West. As we always say, the WJC is the light shining in and for the West. Ladies and gentlemen, I always express my fundamental belief that a university such as ours must take its rightful place in providing both instruction and direction to the city in which it is located. And we at Mona, WJC, remain resolute in our mission to change lives and to transform communities, even as we remain committed to the university's standard of being that light coming out of the West. We therefore thank all the people from across all walks of the Western region life who have come to support us this morning, especially His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Homer Davis, and members of the St. James Municipal Corporation. As most of you would have probably heard, the Mayor's Advisory Council has actually found a home at the University of the West Indies, Mona, Western Jamaica campus. We note the presence of those from across the business sectors, so we welcome the Dares, the Dyers, the President of the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce, people who lead the knowledge management industry, and of course, our colleague educators from other institutions. But I want to take director's privilege, and since I'm the last person here, I know I can get away with it. I want to take director's privilege to recognize and thank my team at the Mona Western Jamaica campus. The librarian, Ms. Sandra Stubbs, Dr. Bennett, Dr. East, Dr. Anderson, I'm sure I saw him earlier, MSBM Sandra March, Ms. Diane Bailey and the OSSD staff, Ms. Indira Ajuda, Administrative Officer, the Bursary Unit, MITS, the Facilities Management Department, every single member of my team, please stand and be recognized for the tremendous work you are doing to keep the Mona flag flying high and proud in the Western region. Thank you very much. Of course, among that team is one young man called Mr. Hugh Dowse. He was the person you saw conducting and trying to fill in when the WJC Chorale was waiting. We must put our hands together and thank Mr. Hugh Dowse and the WJC Chorale for sharing your talent with us in such a superb manner. We're truly blessed and, of course, lifted up. Thanks to all the planners, both at Mona and at WJC, all the departments that contributed to the planning and execution of this event, including the estate management, ACP, and the security forces, the marketing office, the bursary, our vendors and service providers. I want to especially thank our media partners, especially those from the West. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for making this morning another great step, another significant step in the way forward in making dreams reality. Thank you all and have a blessed afternoon. I'm going to now at this time ask all the members of the platform party to be guided by, follow the MRC people. The marketing officers are directing you there. So all the members of the platform party to be joined by our mayor, His Worship our Mayor, Councillor Homer Davis, and Deputy Principal Boxill. So they will take up their positions, they will take instructions, and as soon as they are in place, I'm going to invite you all to observe and applaud the breaking of the ground.
You were as emotional as me.
So, you know, when I just came